Welcome to Village in Motion. I am Clint Lambert, and it's my pleasure to have in the studio with me this Thursday morning, February the 13th of 2020, our own finance director, Cody Burns. And Cody, what's happening in finance?
So it's the start of the new year.
Yes.
We made it through 2019. As we know, as we talked through 2019, we had some bumps and ups and downs. But January 2020 off to a good start. Favorable to plan, and looking forward to seeing that trend continue going throughout the rest of the year. Couple things I have to mention, just it's tax time coming up, so tax letters will hopefully be coming out by the end of February. We're waiting to hear back on a couple comments.
So when you say tax letters, are you mailing something to us, or how are you
they'll
getting
be
it?
available in cubbies, and if you don't get one, they'll be available in the administration office.
Okay.
And what this letter tells you is what's tax deductible and what's not. And the biggest thing to understand about living here at Green Spring is it is a Type C contract, which is a fee-for-service contract.
Right.
So in independent living, none of that monthly service fee is designated towards health care costs.
So in other words, our monthly service fee, that we can't deduct any of it.
Correct. So unless you have other health care costs showing up on your bill, such as home support, certified home health, if you're in Garden Ridge, a portion of it may be tax deductible. There's instructions on what to do and who to talk to on those tax letters that will be coming out, hopefully within the next week or two.
All right. When we get a tax letter and we think we've got something that's deductible, what should we do?
I would talk to a tax specialist. Coming to the finance office, we're not allowed to give tax advice and tax information outside of the letters that come out. So I would talk to a tax specialist or a financial advisor if you use one of those to help determine what, if any portion of your Green Spring bill is tax deductible.
Okay. So that should take care of our tax bills, right?
Yep.
Okay. Are there going to be any other bills that we're going to be receiving in the near future?
No, just your normal Green Spring statements.
Okay.
One thing I would like to add about the taxes is we get, normally every year we get a lot of requests for the 12 months of statements that you received if you didn't hold on to them throughout the year. So this year, because we have our online bill pay portal and all of the sustainability initiatives that we're trying to implement, we won't be printing out those statements at the finance office, but that doesn't mean that you still don't have access to those 2019 statements. If you're an online bill pay member, you can access all of those statements in the portal. If you're not already an online bill pay member, I would recommend signing up. You can either print them out yourself or save them to your computer as a PDF. And if you need instructions on how to do that, we have instructions in the finance office on how to access those in the online bill pay portal. And you don't need to set up an online account or a payment account if you choose to go that route and sign up for online bill pay. If you're just trying to access your statements, you can just access your statements and then forget about it until the following year.
So we can access our statements if we have a My Erickson.
So yes, if you have My Erickson, you can click on the, but you have to have the online bill pay portal set up as well. So you can access the online bill pay portal through My Erickson, or there is a URL code that you can use and type into your web browser to access it outside of My Erickson if you do not have My Erickson access.
But that means I'm going to have to be able to use a computer. What about those of us that don't use computers? Or computer illiterate, or in regards to it, what happens with that?
So if you do have a computer or a laptop or something like that, you can bring it down to the finance office. We can help you through the process. We just can't do it for you.
Right.
If you don't have access to a computer, I would recommend working with a friend who might have a computer, or a family member if there's someone that can help you with that type of stuff. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to print out the statements anymore. We're trying to save some paper so that if folks can access them electronically and not print them out themselves, we can save some costs there.
People could also go to the computer lab, right?
Yes, correct. So the computer lab is available And currently we are working on trying to set up a peer team of residents that are similar to the My Erickson group of residents that help people set up their My Erickson accounts to assist with that. So hopefully that'll be put into place by March timeframe. Still working out those details.
But is there really any reason for anyone to need a printout of the statements? I mean, we've got them on a monthly basis. You're saying that there's nothing on any of the monthly charges that's tax deductible.
Yeah. So sometimes there is a need. I don't think the need is for everyone to print out the statements.
Okay.
Some folks like to have them just to show what they've paid every month. But if you've paid electronically, or if you've kept a decent record of checks that have gone to Greenspring, that normally should suffice. What I would recommend is talking to a tax professional if you're trying to figure out what you need for your taxes before requesting those statements.
Okay. But what we need from our standpoint here of being a tax deductible really is if we're receiving health care, right?
Correct. So if you haven't received any additional health care here at Greenspring, you're just paying your independent living monthly service fee, then none of that is tax deductible. So from a tax perspective, you wouldn't need, in my opinion, those statements. But again, I would reference a tax professional, and just in case that is needed for your specific situation.
Okay. All of us are concerned about our finances. What's happening with the fact that there's less and less occupancy here?
So one of the things that I would like to say is 98% occupancy, while great and amazing, is long-term not sustainable.
Right.
We think as a team here that 97.5% is kind of that sustainable mark. If we get up to 98%, then that's just a win in our books. But you know, the days of the 98, 99% occupancies are probably few and far between now, just because it's not sustainable with the turnover that we see every month from people moving out and or living the rest of their days here. It's not a sustainable mark to maintain. Not to say we won't ever get to that point for a month or two here in the future. So from a financial perspective, we're really looking at what we can sustain at that 97.5%, which is why you saw the trickle down last year, and we plan on maintaining at this year at that 97.5%. What that means, it's not a whole lot from an IL occupancy perspective. When we think about the difference between 97.5% and 98%, we're talking about maybe 3 or 4 units. So the dollar amount associated with that isn't a huge impact. It's really cutting a small cost here or there, or just making sure that we're tightening our belts. Really, not necessarily cutting costs, but just being that little bit extra diligent to.
And so we don't need to be concerned about our fees increasing because of going to 97, not 97.
No, from an occupancy perspective, I would say that's not what's driving the fee increase. It's really the cost of labor that's really driving the fee increases that we're seeing. So the occupancy is not a big driver of that fee increase that we received for 2020. It's the increase in costs that we're seeing on the expense side that's really driving up that fee increase.
So wages are really killing us.
Wages, yes. Wages, the market is moving up pretty fast especially in this area with the cost of housing outside of Greenspring, not just in Greenspring, but outside of Greenspring. Our staff have to live somewhere. And we're finding it harder and harder to find staff that live in this area to come in and provide the services. So we're having to, make sure that our wages are competitive in the market as well with our competitors down the street.
Have we looked at, in regards to bringing staff in, of going outside the community and busing people here?
Yeah, so the unfortunate thing is the cost to bus people in would far, from what we've done in an analysis perspective, most of the time would far exceed the benefit of bringing those people in. And unfortunately, while we're not too far from a metro station, the area that our staff are coming from, especially some of our frontline staff, there's not a metro station. So a lot of our frontline staff come from more of the south of here, and all the metro stops are north of here and in the city. So that's kind of our struggle right now from being competitive with wages and being an attractive employer for those individuals.
Okay. With the finance department, you guys are still looking to move down to Village Square, right?
Yep.
What's happening with that?
So we're finalizing the plans for the office space that we'll be taking in. We will be moving down to town center or Village Square, excuse me, at some point within the next probably 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
We're just trying to finalize where that move is going to be that's suitable for the needs of the finance office. Our initial move might be somewhat temporary for 6 months, but then we'll still be in Village Square, but just we need to get out of town center so that they can start that second phase of the repositioning project, so that all the moving parts can be in place. So
for people that may have not heard and don't realize, you're going to lose your office in town center, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that whole area.
Yep. So that whole area, once the CVS is finished and everything like that, they basically start construction on the other side of the building, which is where our current office space is. So we do have to move. I'm looking forward to it. I'm down in Village Square a lot, talking with sales and administration anyway. So from a what I do day to day, it'll be a lot easier. But I will miss town center.
Okay.
That's been our home since I've been here.
Yeah,
So
right. All righty. We have run out of time.
All right.
You have shared all your knowledge for the day, right? But thank you very, very much for all you do in regards to financing, keeping us informed in regards to it.
You're welcome.
Okay. And we'll see you next month.
Yes.
All right.